Hey folks, Colin here from Sumthins Recording. Do not mind the unpacked mess behind me. That is our gear from post-gigging last year that we have yet to set back up. But I have a quick video for you today on how to EQ kick drum on the way in to get that polished drum recording that you are looking for. Okay, so we're going to go through two examples of EQing kick drum today. We're going to go through EQ on the kick in, and then we're going to go through EQing the kick out, okay? And this is raw drum recordings that I will show you beforehand. Then we will go through applying the EQ, and then you can hear the finished drum recordings afterwards, okay? And bear in mind, all of this is pre-mixing, okay? This is EQ on the way in, all right? So we're going to start here. I'm going to show you the kick in by itself, then the kick out, and then I'll let you hear the kick all together, okay? So here's our kick in mic. Okay, so that's our raw recorded kick in mic. That is a D112 that is inside the kick drum pointing at where the beater is hitting, okay? So our next one here, this is our kick out. We'll pull that level up a little bit. This is a condenser mic that's on the outside head, just sitting in the middle. So you can hear we're getting more of that low end air coming from the head. Okay, we will pull this back a little bit and then you can hear them balanced together. Okay, so here is the kick in and the kick out together. So here we get the click from the kick in and we get the low end air from the kick out. Now that right there that you just heard is an example of a good kick drum recording, okay? We have the kick in mic inside the kick drum and the kick out outside the kick drum, giving us a good balance between the click and the low end air, okay? That is a good kick drum recording raw, okay? Now I'm going to show you applying EQ. This is the EQ you would apply recording if you were working through your console, okay? So we're going to start with the kick in, okay? So the EQ I reach for when applying EQ to the recording on the way in is usually an API 550 style EQ. I like the sound of it on the way in, okay? So we're going to start getting rid of that excessive mid-range, okay? So we'll boost and see where it is. So that 800 area is what's bothering me. That's what I want to get rid of on this kick in, okay? So we're going to pull that down. That's a little too much. So see at -6 it's nice, but there's still a little bit of that ringing going on. So we're going to go with -9 there. Now the next thing we might do is maybe a little bit of 50 hertz here. Yeah. Now if this was our only kick mic, I would probably go this far, maybe 6 dB of it. But we're going to get our low end mainly from our kick out mic. So 2 dB should be sufficient. Now we're going to add some high end, okay? Since this is our kick in mic, this is what we want to get our click from, okay? So that's our 7K. We're not really getting anything when we go down to 5, so we'll stay at 7. So when we go down to 5, we get a little bit too much mid-range ring. Four sounds good, but I'm going to go with 2 because I want to leave a little bit room after we bounce through this. I want to leave a little bit of room to boost during mixing. So that sounds good to me for the kick in, okay? So we'll do a little bit of before and after, okay? So here's before. So the mid-range is really dominating here. That's a little bit more scooped. That's what we want to hear with our kick drum. We want to hear the low end, and we want to hear that high end click, especially from the kick in mic. Okay? So now we'll put that in with our kick out, okay? So we'll do before, and then we'll add that in. You can hear how we get a little bit more click and a little bit more low end, okay? So here's before. After, okay? So we lose all of that excessive mid-range. It's a little bit more scoop sounding. Okay, now we'll move to our kick out mic, okay? So we'll boost that up. And again, I always reach for that API 550 EQ, especially on drums on the way in. I love this 3-band style, and I love the vintage sound I get out of this, okay? So again, we're gonna boost here in the mid-range and find that muddiness that we wanna get rid of. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be this 4. Yeah. That's that mud we wanna get rid of. We're gonna leave a little bit of it though. We don't want to go too far because we want to leave a little bit of that mid-range in, and it's a little bit nicer here on the kick out than it was on the kick in. Now I'll boost the low end. And again, if this was our only kick mic, I'd probably go this far with 6. 4 is probably still a little bit much, especially since we boosted a little bit here on our kick in. We don't want to go too crazy with it. 2 is a nice little low end bump that we want on our kick drum on the way in. And again, this is stuff that's going on the way in. We're recording through this, okay? So we don't have to go too crazy. You want to leave a little bit of room for mixing, okay? Now I'll try the high end. So we'll boost too much. We'll see what we want. Again, with 5, we're getting a little bit too much of that mid-range in there, the high mids. I just want some high end air. 7 sounds good. 10's a little bit too much of just cymbal noise. So we're going to stick with 7. Two's nice. If this was our only kick drum mic, I'd probably go with 9 or 8. But since we're getting our main click from our kick in mic, I just want a little bit of air from this one. So we'll probably go with 4 here. Yeah. Okay, so here is our before, and then I'll click it in and you can hear our after. So you hear we scoop out a little bit of that mud, we get a little bit of low end bump, and we get a nice boost in the air. That's a little too low midly, a little bit muddy. That's a nice clean kick out sound. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. We'll put it in, and you can hear how this compares with the kick in going, okay? So we'll pull that back down. I think we had it at negative 4.6. That's just our good balance here. So here's our before, here's our raw kick drum recording. This is running through the EQ. So this is a little bit just it's all mid-range here. We got muddiness, we've got a little bit of mid-range honkiness. We don't have the low end bump we want. We don't have any air here. That's what we want. We scooped out that mid-range that we don't need, that muddiness. Nice bump in the low end at the fundamental, and we got a nice air and a nice click on our kick drum. Okay, and that's it. A simple way that you can EQ your kick drum on the way in to get it more polished sounding before mixing, okay? That's what we want. We want the best recordings that we can get, and that means using EQ on the way in, okay? It's a good drum recording beforehand, We're just adding an EQ for that extra polish and that extra finish, okay? 3 moves per drum, 3 moves per EQ, and we get our kick drum a little bit closer to being finished, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you need help recording your live drum kit, head on over to the link in the description, sumthinsrecording.com, and request a quote for recording on your next project. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.